Hello, this is PSKV coming to you right now in the comfort of your home. And right now, what we are going through right now, we going into 1968, dealing with the Black Panthers. Yes, I want you to know you better look up that year. And as you look at the car, the truck, say 68, and it's not telling you just 68 in the Black Panther just like that. It's a code to tell you, go and look it up, because it's going to take you back into history about the Black Panthers, the originals. Oh yes, the original Black Panther, the power movement that also fed the children and the mothers and took care of a whole lot of things. Now when the children start eating inside of the school system and saying, now we're going to feed these children, all that came from the Black Panthers. When it comes down to the original Black Panthers, we got to recognize in the 60s was a very hard time for the Black Americans. And also that was a time for the civil rights movement. And also there was many of us in the different, from generation lines of the 60s. That was in starvation. There was lack of jobs. Children was not being fed correctly due to the fact of lack of income. Okay. So now we are now looking at the fact that now Marvel done came out with the blessings of showing the Black Panther in the African descendancies and showing the importance of that African blood. But the most important thing is to know the blessings of what the true Black Panther put their life in jeopardy for. The true Black Panthers that was operating in kingship, that also had the government to see the implements that they was doing when it come down to children, health care, even down to daycare, and even down to the liberation of womanship. The Black Panthers have put a lot into the government. So from state to state, especially in New York City, California, I'm telling you, in all the states that the Black Panther Party was participating in, it did a job well done, even though it sometimes looked like it was the most worst thing that you could ever imagine when it came down to Black society and white society. But it was definitely needed for the government to know that there was children going to bed that was hungry, and there was Black men coming from Vietnam and saying, no more. We want our children healthy. We want the best for our children. We tired of living in rundown houses, and especially for the fact that they wasn't asking for a handout. We got to recognize that slavery and had just rarely just can say that you just got a edge on something, but yet you still in the 50s, the 40s, and the 30s taking it back, did not even have the rights to vote. All the way into the late 60s, they did not have the rights to vote. So the first part was coming into the 1970s when the Black man, Black woman had started having the rights to vote. And still those voting rights did not count in until the 80s. So the Black Panthers movement was the encouragement to show the impact that Black people had a right, and had a right for jobs, well, housing, preparation needed to be developed, and income start coming in, and development coming in for our mind and consciousness to come in. They say, look, we don't have to live like this. Our children don't have to live like this. So it wasn't just about a military movement, but we got to recognize when the Black Panther movement start activating, these are Black men coming back from Vietnam War. These are Black men that was coming back also from World War II, that also lived in another country and recognized the well treatment in Germany that Black men was getting. Now they come back to America after World War II and say, look, we don't have to live like this. So that is also, you had two generations fighting at the same time. And when it came down to the war effect, that was Vietnam War and that was World War II. So when World War II come back from fighting in Germany with Hitler, they came back with a mind change, a mindset. They say, look, black people are not looked at this kind of way. And the same thing when it come down to Vietnam War. When Vietnam War came in, it was also looked at, the black man was looked with respect, honor, and it was a high blessing in the capacity, the true capacity to know that the black man had a right on planet Earth just like any other man. So now here it goes. We goes into that time of the 60s when the Black Panthers come together with Martin Luther King, with Malcolm X, and everybody had their own agenda. But guess what? Everybody's agenda was the same. It was about the equality movement about black people, and that was major. So the major avenue that we're coming in to recognize right now is that the Black Panthers right now is about kingship. Okay, now also we want to come in and talk about the comparison of the Black Panthers when it comes down to the Planned Parenthood. Now, one of the things that we know that the Black Panthers was doing, they was all about the life force, all about the children, about jobs, and about education, and about feeding children into the lunch programs and the breakfast programs and the medical programs, and making sure that pregnant women was getting their nourishments. This is the major avenue that the Black Panthers was doing to make sure that hungry children down to the mother and child was being fed and being well taken care of. And also the implement of the daycare was also being implemented and being a blueprint from the Black Panthers that the government also adapted. Now, while all this is going into the 1960s, when black people was fighting for equality and fighting for their rights to get good jobs. And now here it comes in 1973. Now the government feels that it is a design that had to come in through Margaret Sanger to say we need Planned Parenthood. The Planned Parenthood was nothing but a conspiracy that comes in to let you know that right now, when the 60s was coming in the 60s all the way to the 70s to 73 now, here it is that now another brainstorm comes in to say we want to eliminate children. So now millions of children from in the United States of America and also internationally that have adapted to the same mind frame of Margaret Sanger have took this same order of destroying children inside of the womb. So while the Black Panthers was fighting for the government to pay attention, not only are we asking for jobs, not only are we asking for fair housing, not only is we asking to be treated that we can be entrepreneurs and we can have our own place in this land, in America, or in anywhere around the world to be recognized as human beings, recognized with fair treatment just as anyone else. Well, while that was going on, let me tell you, there was now prayer was being pushed out of the school. There was now you're not allowed to pray inside of the school. That was another thing to move the situation, because now prayer was being taken out of the school due to the fact that there are now blacks now that are going into the school. So long as blacks was not being mixed with whites inside of the school, interracial situations will not happen, because now they do not want you to interact with one another. So now here it goes. Prayer got to be taken out. Prayer is now out of the school. We don't need prayer inside of the school. Now, that government turned around and said, okay, you can come to the courthouse and put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you did not do this, or to affirm to God that you did not do this. But how can you now turn around and say you can take prayer out of the school? So now something got to give right there. Now something is a puzzling situation right there. How can now the government say prayer can be taken out of school, but everyone that have to go into the criminal court procedure now must put their hands on the Bible to affirm or swear that they are telling the truth? But yet prayer is taken out of the school. Any president that is coming forth in the United States to take that office and that position, because it is a job position, they must swear on the Bible that they are going to do what they're going to do. So how can you tell me that prayer had to be taken out of the school? So this is a controversy. This is I mean, just some crazy rhetoric, because that it doesn't make any kind of sense. So now when it comes down to Margaret Sanger, and here it comes now that prayer is being taken out of the school, Margaret Sanger comes in with her plan with Planned Parenthood and say, now we want the baby to be pulled out of the womb, and we are called this Planned Parenthood. We want the baby to be killed. This is Planned Parenthood. We want now that the sperm will not even hit the egg, no matter what means necessary and what artificial devices that have to go into the woman's womb. We want this destroyed. This is talking about the Planned Parenthood. Now, the Black Panthers now was all about life. But now when it comes in, the same plans that they have been talking about, and that they was a lot of the leaders was being killed for, a lot of them was being thrown in jail for, now the government is implementing these same programs right before our face. So these are the things that we have to look at. These are the serious things that we must look at, because right now is the same thing that going in. Now they telling you that the teachers now will be carrying and be armed inside of the school system. Now, if the teacher's going to be armed with weapons and guns, now if your teacher do not like your child, if this teacher do not like your child, it can make a lie up and then turn around and take your child's life. So now we don't take the bad and fix the bad with the bad. We have to operate with some kind of order here. Because talking about giving teachers who may have a bad day at home, and any little thing could trigger them with a weapon on their hand and take a child's life and feel that they can get away with that. Now we got to look at those things good. We talking about keeping weapons out of the school, but now we are telling you now we want the teachers to operate with your child inside of the school while they teaching your child with a gun pointed to their head. Now this is crazy. We rebuke this. We execute this by the power of the authority of intelligence. By the authority of the power of the intelligence that the Almighty Creator have given us with wisdom, knowledge, and consciousness. This is a time that we must be conscious of the things that going on. So this is now that Marvel came out with the Black Panthers, but we got to look at before the Black Panthers could not be even talked about. The Black Panthers could not even be talked about by even saying its name unless it was becoming a communist situation. But now the movie comes out, Black Panther, it is being said. Now how much things have changed. We are happy for change, but we must be conscious, must be conscious-minded. Okay, this was part 1. All right, talk to you soon. And keep up with part 2. Talk to you. This is PSKV coming to you in the comfort of your home. Talk to you soon. Okay, see ya.